Welcome to the PS reports. This is an update on Mr. Sagiao. For a quick correction first, I've been getting Mr. Sagiao's name literally wrong from the very first day I met him. He and I would laugh about that because I just could not break my habit of reading his name instead of actually feeling his name. So I'm continuing to get better. So today, I'm speaking because there are some new developments about Mr. Sagiao, and not just with his case specifically, but in general with things of the world. What is going on in our nation at this time was what happened to Mr. Sagiao more than 10 years ago illustrates very clearly how systems that are in place are still harming innocents today, killing people. Nothing has changed. And for IDOC, is actually much worse specifically. But back to what is going on currently. So, in broad daylight, we saw Ms. Renee Good and Mr. Alex Pretty be executed. Why were they executed? These two individuals were targeted specifically by law enforcement because they were actively assisting those who were fearful and had no voice. ICE knew this. ICE targeted them because of this, and ICE ultimately killed them. This is not anything new, by the way. This has been going on literally for the last 60 years or more. 100 years? It's been a long time. What is new about this is this fact. This happened in broad daylight for everyone to see. These systems that I talk about, have been speaking about, they work very, very hard to make sure these executions happen in the dark. So here are some names. Ronald Green, Sonia Massey, Milo Warnock, Brian Hamlet, Edward Bronstein, Irvo Otenio, Gerald Cummings, and I apologize for mispronouncing, of course, more people's names. Their deaths happened in the dark. Justice has either been delayed in their situations or completely denied. And I apologize for all those who I've not mentioned because there are literally so many. It's overwhelming. But this is how civil rights began. When people speak up for other people. When people say such things as, well, both sides are involved and responsible, those are despicable words if you're doing nothing. And right now, many are. It's all about control, these systems. As soon as that control is threatened or questioned or has a light shined on it, these systems that are in place in America will target those people, remove and eliminate them. So what happened with Mr. Sagiao happened in the dark. When I came across him and recognized what was happening, as a brand new staff member, by the way, and started speaking out, the backlash and intimidation and more were both bewildering to me and immediate. I thought I was seriously doing something wrong, didn't understand what was going on, and thought that somehow I didn't know how to help somebody. The problem was I did. And because I did immediately and started doing these things, I literally threatened all of IDOC, just walking off the street. And what I didn't know then, and even when I made my first video about Mr. Sagiao, it's now been almost 2 years, by the way, was that the decision to execute him had been made years prior to my ever meeting him. This is why they reacted as they did. When I started asking questions and began advocating for his help and the cure and everything that I did, back then I had no idea what I was walking into. So it became very clear over time. I recognized that I was not the problem, that IDOC was the problem. And they continue to be. So there will be more segments around what I'm continuing to learn as my understanding expands which is good, but also it points a very big finger toward IDOC. IDOC will do nothing but protect itself. So today we have 5 questions, and this is from a very brave voice who is speaking out on behalf and for and about Mr. Sagiao. Let's listen.
Hi, I'm a friend of Kevin Sagiao. I've been asked by Brian McClure to answer some questions in regards to Kevin. I found Brian online when he posted some information that included Kevin's name. Since then, we've been in contact, and this is what I'm here to do today. In between the time that my daughter was born and I met up with Kevin in 2014, he had been in and out of incarceration his entire adult life, mainly due to his addictions. Unfortunately, his life was very chaotic, and he was incarcerated many times, released, and then reincarcerated over that period. Here is the first question from Brian. How many years do you believe Kevin was in jail or prison since you last saw him prior to his time in IDOC? Well, first I have to give you a little bit of history. Kevin and I first met in 1989. We dated for about a year. I gave birth to our daughter, and shortly after that, he was incarcerated, and I lost contact with him for many years. Fast forward to 2014, and I found a Facebook that was active with Kevin's profile. When I inquired, knowing that he was still incarcerated at that time, I found that it was being run by a third party. Through that third party, I was able to make contact with Kevin through letters, phone calls, and eventually visitation at IDOC with Kevin several times over the next year. Question number 3 from Brian is, what was something that Kevin enjoyed doing that we should know about him? Kevin was a gentle spirit. He really was. Everybody loved him that he came in contact with. He was very thoughtful, very helpful, considerate. He was funny. He was actually a really, really good artist. And most of all, he just absolutely was ecstatic about finding me and getting to know his daughter and his grandchildren. And that's something he looked forward to more than anything, was getting out, watching them grow, making up for lost time with them. But unfortunately, that was robbed from him. Brian's question number 4. Prior to contacting Brian, had anyone from IDOC ever talked to you about what happened to Kevin? And second part of that question, were you surprised to learn that Brian tried to get Kevin help? Firstly, IDOC never reached out to me to talk to me about what happened to Kevin. It was all pretty much done deal. And unfortunately, there's a lot of sketchy things that happened during the end of Kevin's life the last few weeks. And that is primarily the reason I'm staying anonymous at this time. And the second part of the question, was I surprised Brian tried to get Kevin help? Yes, absolutely. I had no idea anyone from the inside was advocating for him. I'm very thankful for that, but I'm also sad that Brian wasn't taken seriously, because this is was a very serious matter. The final question, number 5, what would I like to have happen since I have learned more about Kevin's last year? When I was in touch with Kevin, we had many conversations, and while he was incarcerated that last year, he informed me that he actually had a pending lawsuit, which I'm not going to go into great detail at this time. Mainly, he was looking for justice for himself, for what had been done to him, because he knew at this point that he probably wasn't going to make it through this. But he also wanted justice for past inmates that passed from not getting the help that they needed or deserved, and also for any future inmates that unfortunately are probably going to get the same treatment. And that's the same thing I want. I know that was on Kevin's heart heavily. And also, because of the fact that he wasn't able to see his daughter and his granddaughter and spend time with us. Even if it had been for a short time, it would have been something valuable. And that was robbed from Kevin, and it was robbed from us. And it's something we can never get back. And it really breaks my heart to know that that was stolen from him. I want to see justice for Kevin.